today is the 28th. We're on the 3rd episode. We have not organized any of the stories. We're here, we're drinking.
Chris is dictated.
New Year's approaches rapidly.
No organization.
I wanted to see.
New Year will be what?
Usually we kind of talk about stories before.
Monday or Tuesday? Tuesday, I think, right?
Yeah, we'll be recording a new episode of the news very soon.
Tuesday is New Year's Day.
Oh.
Oh, that's right. We'll have a thing on Sunday. Wow. Okay. So this will be security
And nonsense.
and social
And nonsense.
and nonsense.
And nonsense.
Actually, this will be the longest episode.
Yeah.
Oh, we gotta. This is not. I mean, come on.
I think it'll be the most ridiculous by far.
Almost.
He's through a whole
I'm
bottle
almost
of wine.
done. I'm gonna finish the bottle.
Yeah, this is. It's genuinely impressive. Like, I don't know how you were not like passed out. And
Yeah, like I slowed down quite a bit in episode 2, and like I'm feeling okay right now. And like, but I feel like if I drink much more, I'm not gonna be feeling.
There's
so
the
good.
bottle.
I ceased being able to do third.
This is just a long pause. He thinks
What?
about what he's gonna say.
I ceased being able to do third level integrals in my head about 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, you didn't even know what word you were looking for. You're like,
What is this? Number 4. What did you brought me?
Whichever one you want. You can
I
have
gave you some
You
pink.
can have the breakfast stout or
I
the.
want breakfast.
Okay.
no, you want
This
some
is the
pink
coffee
first.
one, right? Oh wait, does it have caffeine in it?
No,
Because I got the stones.
I don't think it does.
Stones.
Oh, I mean, you can
Your
check
liver's hurting, not your
There's
stones.
an ingredients thing. Check the ingredients.
I just pissed for like 2 minutes solid. And it was totally clear. That's when you know you're drunk. Well, let's get into the news.
You'll need that.
And yeah, let's just talk
Your desk
about.
is just disheveled. There's nuts all over the floor from the tray.
Look what you've done. To
I
this
like
tray.
cleaned up a bunch of stuff.
Let's look at
Actually,
this tray.
It's mostly gone.
Let's get that out of the tray.
That's almost all me.
Oh, I ate some of it. Not much, though.
You've worked like you've picked around the fruits.
Well, I didn't really. I tried to save the peach because the peach is actually one of the really good
What
ones.
is this?
Apricot.
You weren't a fan of that, and you
No.
weren't a fan of whatever this is.
Prunes?
Prunes, yeah.
Oh,
My mom loves prunes.
Yeah, the prunes are not good.
That's
great.
an official sponsor of
You're gonna take
TGP.
a wicked
Prunes.
shit later. All that roughage.
Well, hey, when we get to the stream is going to be nothing but meats and cheeses, which is cancel it out.
Oh, that'll be good and delicious, though.
Well, that can only segue into nude photos.
Oh,
The fucking
wicked
segue.
shit into
No.
nude photos?
Now, not only is the segue into nude photos, but this is from Naked Security, which is Sophos. I mean, Sophos actually calls their thing Naked Security. But this phone repair
It's
shop
provocative.
group, these phone repair shop employees have been accused of stealing nude photos. So when you bring your phone in to be repaired, they might copy your photos. I mean, let's face it, we've all been paranoid about that, right?
Look at all these
Kristen,
guys.
look at these guys. What do you think about these guys?
They kind of look like someone who
Actually,
might steal
they
them.
look kind of normal. They look kind of normal.
Yeah, he looks all right.
They look fine.
I wouldn't guess anyone would steal nude photos, but you know.
The guy in the lower left looks like a budget guy that played Blue Raja in the movie with Janine Garofalo and when she played the bowler.
I heard Raja and I was like, someone made a movie about the guy from AMD?
They will. Eventually, that will be a movie. So yeah, these guys. It turns out they were just targeting attractive women. If you were an attractive woman and you came in, they would be like, "Oh, flag that. That's gonna have some nudes."
Do you think
on
they had like a checkbox on the form?
And-
Or do you consider yourself hot?
Well, they had text messages. It was like, "Hey, that girl that came in early, did we get her computer?" And it's like, "No." It's like, "Oh man, I'm sure it had."
Ugh.
And sure enough, they almost always had nudes.
Pro tip. Pro tip if you're trying to attract a woman or like just be better about being around women, don't be that way. Don't be that way.
I'm gonna try this pink shit.
Oh yeah. It's very strawberry.
Oh, that's candy. Mm-hmm. That's bad news.
That's great.
It's delicious, but
That's it.
fuck
Yeah.
that.
Candy Pepto.
That's gonna be bad for me tomorrow.
Speaking of things that are bad for you tomorrow, wouldn't it be great if Windows had a sandbox mode where you could run things in some sort of sandbox?
What if you could get drunk in a sandbox?
And just
That's
hit a
what
button.
cats do. Actually, I guess cats don't really get drunk, but
Cats have they nip out.
They nip out. So Beta News has this. Microsoft has announced Windows Sandbox, a desktop environment running applications in isolation. This is like Sandboxy. You guys know Sandboxy? We've advocated for Sandboxy for years. Finally, Microsoft is adding that to the operating system. They're finally recognizing that, hey, maybe Windows security is basically garbage. Let's create a virtual machine environment that's very difficult for bad software to break out of.
This is very coffee-y.
Is that good or bad?
It's going to give me stones. So, you have to
Kidney
enable
stones, that is.
the support in your BIOS.
Are we just having it from the bottle? I mean, we should maybe clear
Listen,
out. Oh, you can't use
what
that.
am I, some kind of
He's-
aristocrat?
I brought 3 mugs in, but he's used 2.
I drank the wine from a cup. Now, aerating the wine, oxygenating it, did seem to make it a little bit better.
Yeah, I will say that putting the beer, like, usually you do this so that it has a nice head to it. It does not make a difference
But
with
this
these at all.
is like delicious coffee.
It's not bad.
Do you want to put some Kahlua in it? No. Just to really screw your
No,
crap
I don't.
up?
It's,
Just do
it's
it.
like a bitter coffee, which is fine. But yeah, you have to turn this on in your BIOS. But now, if you go and you're looking, you're like, well, I can't find this. Well, you can't get it yet. It's going to come in the next version of Windows 10 Pro and Windows 10 Enterprise. So you got to have one of those.
Neat.
But pretty cool, right? Windows finally catching on that you get those hypervisors, something that people want.
Turns out it's useful to open that PDF in a virtual machine so you can see if it's doing terrible things or trying to encrypt all your crap or whatever.
Click2Gov. I think I paid my taxes through Click2Gov.
You did. You
Yeah.
definitely did.
Well, that's bad news, right?
Yeah.
Not
Yeah,
great.
turns out it's extra mega bad news because ZDNet has the article about how hackers have swiped card numbers from local government payment portals, including Click2Gov. So FireEye has the confirmation here of previous reports that Click2Gov had been hacked. So this is not good news.
Yeah, it turns out the local tax people or whatever, you can pay fines through this thing. You can pay registrations like your car and so forth. Not very good at security.
Very bad.
Not very good at all. And so that's completely overtaken, and they're stealing your credit card information from Click2Gov.
You know who else is really bad at security? Amazon human employees.
This was so people have been talking a long time about, it's like, what if all of my interactions with Alexa, because I know you're recording them, right?
Yeah.
You're recording them.
Well, we say that, but then people are like, "Oh, but they're not really recording."
Yeah,
everything."
But they
they're
kinda
really
are,
recording
though.
them. So what happens when somebody at Amazon screws up? Well, this happens.
Reuters has this article, which is Amazon error allowed Alexa user to eavesdrop on another home. Now that headline is a little sensationalist. What actually happened was the Alexa in Home A was recording everything, and when Home B asked, "Hey, can I hear everything that my Alexa has ever recorded? Everything that had, and that's Home B, everything that had ever been recorded in Home A, which has nothing to do with Home B, was sent all the recordings to Home B." And so the person that lived at Home B was able to listen to everything Alexa had ever recorded at Home A. Whoops.
They reported it. It took some time, but eventually they deleted it all.
Wait, you did what now? What now? Oh, this is going to be bad for us? Oh, let's turn that off.
Yeah. So it confirms that Alexa records everything.
Alexa records everything.
And kind of cool, though, that Amazon, when pressed, will give you access to your Alexa recordings. They fuck it up. But they were willing to give it to you.
I'm honestly surprised this is not bigger news because didn't they just come out with a new version of the Echo that has the built-in camera? Like they were advertising
that's a
that.
thing.
They were advertising that really heavily this year at the for the holidays.
Well, you got to have a holiday.
That was on Oprah's gift guide on Amazon.
Well, they had it was like, oh, we can't visit Grandma. She's in the nursing home in Florida. We're just waiting for her to die. So let's connect her up to the Amazon Echo.
Instead of visiting her.
Yeah.
How
Let her
great
die down
would
there.
it be if you had access to Oprah's Alexa?
Oh, that article.
I was thinking Hillary. Maybe we could finally get to the bottom of Pizzagate or something.
Manuel has
Oh,
fucked up the
4
tulips for the last time. Terminate him immediately, Alexa.
No, hers would all just be like talking about how she has her mindfulness box and like
cinnamon.
my 10-mile vista on the California
it would be the
coast.
real Oprah, the dark Oprah.
Is that like a Marvel superhero? Like, it's a supervillain origin story.
It's like, oh, speaking of which, I watched Venom last night.
Was it terrible?
Oh my
You're just
God,
a turd out
it's
there.
So bad.
That's an actual line. I saw it in a trailer. You're just a turd.
It was one of the worst movies I've ever watched.
Wow.
I haven't even seen it yet.
Was it Tom
It's
Hardy
so
in
bad, I haven't seen it.
It was the most unlikable character I've ever seen. In
Like you didn't even root for him and kind of like, oh, yeah, just do it. Like
no,
kill them all.
No, I wanted
Speaking of unlikable characters, let's talk about Internet Explorer.
Oh.
Microsoft has released an out-of-band security update for Internet Explorer 0 Day. This 0 Day, the way that it works was amazing. From JavaScript and Internet Explorer, you can call an older version of the JavaScript interpreter in jscript.dll, which why you can do that is strange. And when you call the older JavaScript interpreter, it doesn't sandbox things properly, and so you can break out of the sandbox and do any arbitrary thing you want on the target user's machine. So you could install something to download more malware and go crazy.
People are like, why can't I use Internet Explorer? Why do I need to look at this on another browser?
Well, imagine, one of these groups gets a hold of a good account on an advertising account. So they go, it's like, oh, hey, Newegg has an account with this advertising agency. Let's just run our JavaScript here.
That happens a lot.
This has happened in the past.
It has happened in the past.
So you cannot trust ads. Unless you're watching YouTube ads on Level 1 News, then you can trust them completely.
Thanks for watching
they'll
ads on the Level 1 News.
we get a couple of cents from that. So
Well, this episode's gonna be so long, we might have several ads run it, which might be
there's
annoying.
no chance we're getting monetized on this one.
No.
You don't think?
No.
We are
none of them.
Blasted.
Literally none of them.
Well, to be fair, Wendell also mentioned Pizzagate on
But I did it in such a way that the algorithm probably couldn't understand it, but now it can. Thanks for the clear.
Krista, you're over there braiding your hair.
No, I'm not. I don't know how to braid my hair.
What the fuck does that mean? You don't know how to braid
I
your
never
hair.
learned.
Now, you were telling us about Fortnite earlier, and
How to braid your hair. It's just one over the other, right?
No, you have to do it in 3 sections and then do it a certain way. I can do half of it and then I get mixed up.
But you have such long hair.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, in my hair right now it's straight, but normally it's curly, and curly hair and braids is really difficult. So I just never learned. So usually if I do a braid, it's just hair twisted around itself.
Now you're gonna make a video braiding your hair.
No, I'm not doing that.
Level 1, how to braid your hair.
Wendell was trying to desperately pull it back to the topic at hand, which was Fortnite.
I did have to buy a Fortnite toy for my younger cousin.
What did you get?
It was an action figure. I mentioned
What's
it.
the name of it?
I don't remember. It's one of the characters. And
Was
then he
it
had
male
a
or
little
female?
buildable wall and then a spray. of
Male or
some sort.
female?
Male.
You think that's like a gender stereotype?
I don't know.
The BBC headline is Fortnite teen hackers earning thousands of pounds a week.
That's not surprising to
And
me.
that's because they're breaking into accounts that have all the crap you just mentioned.
But here's the thing. Hacker, right? Hacker. All they're doing is they're going onto these dark web databases and they're looking for existing passwords. And these moron Fortnite people are using the same password that their leaked passwords were. And you just go phishing. And sometimes you get an account that's bought a bunch of DLC, right? You get one that's got a bunch of DLC, you steal it, you enable 2-factor, you sell it, and they are making a ton of money.
Can
doing
you
this.
really do that? Just sell?
Yes.
Yeah.
See, in Overwatch, you can't transfer items, so there wouldn't really be.
No.
point.
You're not transferring item. You're selling the login because when you
Oh,
enable
okay.
the 2-factor, they can't get back into it.
It's actually really easy to do. I mean, so the Twitter handle just @Wendell, nobody has used since 2014, but it goes to a Yahoo address that hasn't been used in years. So you can literally sign up to that email address at Yahoo and then do a password reset at Twitter, and then you would control the @Wendell Twitter handle.
Did you learn that?
I did.
Because you didn't want to be at Tech Wendell anymore?
Did you just admit to a crime?
No.
You just take some big drink. You
Well,
don't have any more alcohol. Do you want some pink? Some Pepto?
No, I'm good.
I've given up on the pink. I'm going on the chocolate. This beer is actually pretty good, though.
I'll try a little bit of pink.
Okay, let me go get a cup.
No, you can just use that.
Okay.
It's fine.
I don't know how
let's-
delicious that's
let's
going to
get the
be.
pink on camera.
This isn't.
It's very sweet.
It's very sweet. You might like it.
It's very Pepto.
No, it's like what Pepto. Like when you were a kid and you had Pepto for the
It
tastes
tastes
time,
like
It
you ever
looks
had
like
you ever had
Pepto.
Lifesaver
That's good.
cream savers?
and it was like, man, I think Pepto's going to taste delicious. Then you drink it, and you're like, oh, it's terrible, but this is actually pretty good.
It
Okay.
actually smells like cream savers.
You're getting the bouquet.
That tastes exactly like Lifesavers cream savers.
Yeah.
That
They're
is
good.
It's delicious.
Dangerous
and-
though. You have to drink a little bit at a time.
cream savers with a little bit of Pepto mixed in.
Well, let's talk about Mac malware, right? So here's the thing. Linux and Mac, they like to pretend that there's no malware, right?
But there is.
But there is. But they like to pretend that there's not. But maybe the act of pretending is
Dangerous?
enabling.
God, it's heavy, man.
Ars Technica has this article 4 months after its debut. The sneaky Mac malware went undetected by AV providers because Mac AV, I mean, people like that whole there's no viruses on Mac. Even the AV people are buying into that because Mac's definitely like. Actually, Mac is really bad because even though it's got that delicious Unix underbelly, it's got some serious bit rot because Apple has been super neglecting that delicious Apple underbelly of Mac OS. It's delicious berry in a cup.
It's delicious underberries.
Apple is really like not putting enough time into Mac OS, in my opinion. To like they're not maintaining it at a level necessary to just keep it current, in my opinion.
And that is the complaint here, is that they did not report the malware to the malware detectors. Maybe to keep the mystique of the, oh, we don't have viruses. Viruses don't affect Mac. They do.
They do.
And they didn't tell anybody about this one. And so,
There've been some really nasty industrial like info espionage.
yeah, and the
worms.
security researchers, when they looked for it, they're like, well, that's weird because that's not in the definitions.
Yeah,
But
there it is.
Whoop, there it is, if you will.
now this story, I don't know if we've entered into the nonsense section. Nah.
We didn't organize the stories right.
Nonsense
This story
section,
belongs in nonsense.
But this is my favorite story.
I did love this.
of the
Oh
week.
Lord, she coming.
Thick girl.
Chonk. Chonk.
So let's take a look at her first and foremost.
Look at. Well, that's not a good picture. You need the
Here
tweet.
it
There she is. Look at her. She's so pudgy.
Absolute unit. So they said a series of things. Here you can see.
Yeah, like meme talk.
Oh Lord, she coming. Now this is from a series of memes.
Yeah.
Right. Now we've entered into the meme revolution. And these memes were built on mostly things about cats. But I mean, look at the size of this fucking otter.
There's a whole subreddit for like absolute unit. We're just like big animals.
Look at the size of this thing. How much do you think that's fluff?
Not a
Not
whole
very
lot
much.
because
Meat under
otters
there?
are
Yeah.
very thin. Like they have like that repellent water skin.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they actually will walk you through. So here's
The
the
memes.
Like,
Oh, I love
here's
that
the,
picture.
Here's the, oh Lord, she coming meme.
The cat, like to see if they're obese.
And here's Knickers. Remember Knickers?
Oh,
covered
look at her
Knickers.
on the.
But people are complaining.
I've never seen that.
Windows background.
Well, people are complaining. Okay, this is serious. People are saying that black women are the source of
Well,
these memes.
I
So
can say I can see like oh Lord, she coming like that's American African American vernacular
Is it?
English
It's the
a little
cat.
bit.
no, Krista.
Well, it's based on that, but I would say that
Here it is. It's the cat. Look at the size of this cat.
I love the picture of the guy at the vet with the cat, and it's showing him the chart, and the cat's just like, oh, like I am fat.
But here's the thing. They actually they apologized.
They
Yes.
did, and it was like a very drawn out. If you read the replies in that tweet thread too, it was ridiculous. People were like, "Are you really apologizing for this?" Who was offended by it?
Apparently, black women.
I don't think so. I think it was white people being offended for.
But
black
here,
women.
yeah, you're right. Here's the thing. This presumes that black women are fat, right?
I think that most people who are responding that way are probably responding to the language. like the way it's used, like the slang.
It was hilarious.
I think it was funny.
It was hilarious. Whatever, like, conservatory or whatever, they rescued this
aquarium,
otter, and it was hilarious, and they should not feel bad about it.
Yes.
They probably never get
agree with
negative
that.
press,
That
and
was
that like probably freaked them out when a few people tweeted at them and were like,
Social media. That's what we've entered into social media. That's what we've done.
So where's the bad news about Facebook doing something wrong?
There it is.
You won't be disappointed. Now,
You won't be disappointed.
I don't know if we covered this, but Krista dictated we will not sort the stories
No.
on this one.
That's not what this is about.
So the Facebook story is going to be out of order, but I got to click away. Hang on. There we go.
Engadget has the article about Facebook collecting user data from apps like Tinder and OKCupid and others. And it's like, no, wait a minute. Does Facebook own those apps?
It does not.
Huh.
It is partnered with.
Oh, so
Now, by being a partner app, you are presented with extra functions.
So what you're saying is Facebook withheld their SDK functionality until these third-party companies played ball.
You must partner.
That's a very Don Corleone accent that you've got there.
If something happens to my son, we're going to blame some of the people in this room.
There's a lot of references here that I'm not getting, but I'm smiling.
You really got to watch those movies.
But yeah, basically, when you went to the next level, you know how sometimes a girl's like, "What are we? What is this relationship?
Yeah, I talk to a lot of girls and they talk
We
to me
need to
about that.
define this. I don't know what I am to you. Am I just a fuck buddy?" And you're like, "No,
Full API access is like,
you're full API."
Are you really comparing a human relationship to API access right now?
We've exchanged keys. So yeah, once they got that, I think that story comes later, but they would let you do whatever the fuck you want. They would let you read the private messages.
yes,
Private messages.
yes, and delete them if necessary.
If you need to, whatever you want to do, bro, you're in. You're part of Facebook now.
But
you're
see,
trusted.
it's crazy because like this show, which has been described as a fringe Aspie show,
By
was-
certain segments of our own audience.
was the first to call that. Like we literally said, look, no, Facebook designed this API this way. Like when the whole European thing was happening, the whole Cambridge Analytica thing was happening, it was like, oh gosh, we never thought anybody would think about this, blah, blah. We were the ones that were saying, literally, it was designed this way.
We were
And so-
saying bleep blop.
Once you pop open that beard.
Yeah. Well, I got to finish this. But.
Or just mix it together. Strawberry beer.
You are actually, so I did liquor then beer never fear. But you're doing
Beer.
then liquor
It's
never
probably going to end
sicker.
badly, yeah.
We still have to stream.
We've got donuts in the thing too, so we can
Chris has agreed to drive on the Parkitect stream. So
That's good.
not drive a car, as in like I'm actually going to be using
What?
the mouse and
I can
keyboard
see my own
when we do the
fingerprints.
sober up stream after.
what does that mean? We could do RimWorld.
I can't drive if we do that one, but that's fine.
All right.
Architect.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't care what game we play.
We already know how to play that one. It
Yeah.
requires the least cognitive excellence.
Well, let's talk about Twitter. Now, Wendell, I don't care how much you deny it. You are a Twitter addict.
So my favorite thing about this story is that I agree with everything the story has said, but if everything that is in this story that you take at face value, what does that say about YouTube?
I feel like you're deflecting.
Maybe a little bit. So
Question?
Bloomberg is saying Twitter plunges on Citron report calling it toxic and uninvestable. So Twitter still hemorrhaging cash. A lot of people use it. They haven't really figured out how to make money on it, though. I mean, it's a convenient platform. A lot of people use it for messaging and posting. But this Citron report is looking at it and saying, okay, there's a lot of people that use it. Is there a way to monetize that? And the report, to sum it up, was basically no, and a lot of the users are toxic. But to me, and I don't disagree with that. The report was very cogent and talks about the platform and the trouble with investing in social media and how fickle people are and the switch platforms, platform hopping, and all this kind of stuff. And if you look at everything that they talked about in that, and then you look at YouTube, YouTube is everything that they said that everything they accuse Twitter of being, YouTube is that or worse.
But YouTube's trying to play ball with them.
Here's the thing.
Because look at YouTube Rewind. Look at it.
Let me counterpoint this. Anybody can host 240 characters. What is it, 240?
Yeah.
Not anybody can host video.
Yeah, that's true.
It's very expensive.
Yeah, that's true.
So Twitter could be replaced tomorrow.
Well, why would somebody move to a different platform? Because let's face it, a lot of
Social
people...
media is about being social.
That's true. I
A
mean, you got
lot of people want to be toxic.
the fucking president is all over Twitter, right? The number one guy. Whether you love him or hate him, the most visible human being on earth is all over Twitter.
He is a very bright
Is that
shade
the
of
first
orange.
time you tried that beer?
No, this is the second one, and I think this is my favorite.
It's unwashed
What is
masses,
that one?
right?
This one is the Backwoods Bastard beer from
Backwoods.
Founders.
I'm enjoying the breakfast stout.
That's my second favorite. I did not really. I mean,
You didn't like
The
Dragon's
dragon
Milk?
You didn't like the dragon
it
milk?
wasn't that I didn't like it. It's just not as good as the other two.
You're gonna get burned alive.
Do you? Is that bourbony for you? Because it was bourbony
No,
for
it's
me.
just coffee.
Just coffee.
Yeah.
It was like bourbon and coffee for me. This one is more bourbony than that, but I like the notes of bourbon in that.
Well, let's talk about
Actually,
who was the biggest loser of 2018.
me
Obviously, Mark Zuckerberg.
when I hesitated to go into an elevator in a library. And like,
What about when you ran away from the cheesesteak?
that wasn't this year.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, it didn't cost you $20 billion. So you got that
No.
going for you.
No, it just cost me a little
Mark
bit of
Zuckerberg,
self-respect.
it's cost him $20 billion.
Mark Zuckerberg could be 2018's biggest loser. He's already down nearly $20 billion. So this is an interesting article from HITC, which is talking about like the investment aspect and the billionaire aspect of Mark Zuckerberg, which could explain some of his behavior of late.
But so everybody was.
malfunctions.
Bill Gates was down. Warren Buffett was down. You know who was up 22 billion?
Bezos.
Mr. Lex Luthor himself.
What was that?
It doesn't matter how bad the economy gets. The king goes up in value. The world's richest man.
That's me. That's like the stadium of people yelling for Jeff Bezos.
So he fires people through text message, and he makes fucking money. That's what he does.
We've gone off. There's so many stories.
There's so
left.
many. I don't know why we should have. You know what we should have done? We should have gotten rid of some stories.
Oh, you said those sort of. This is your mistake.
Let's just
You know what
go
I'm
through.
looking at? I'm looking.
Just go through roulette and close a bunch
I'm
out.
There
looking
might
at.
be 4 episodes to Level 1 News this week.
I'm looking at the timer. We're at 27 minutes, and we're not even a quarter of the way in. But you know what? This is the level 1 patron. They've given all year.
They have.
They have
Some haven't. Some haven't.
selflessly funded, and it's all for this, right?
It
This
is.
This is when we give it back to them.
Well, I mean, we also do
We-
the podcasts and the behind the
But
scenes.
we
and-
abuse our livers. I drink a fucking bottle of wine. Look at this. It's empty.
You're just
It's
hitting the
empty, you
mic there.
motherfuckers. I've never done the level 1 news. I usually get through the bottle by the end,
I haven't had this much alcohol in years.
and I am wasted.
I slowed down after episode 1, but you've just keep going
I'm
hard.
drinking the beer. I already need to piss again. But I'm going to hold it in because I love the fucking patrons, man. And I don't care that Patreon has gone anti-right wing or whatever. I'm holding that against the surface, not the individuals. But we are, what's the word when you go off on a tangent?
Going off on a tangent.
Digressing. We're digressing. We're digressing, and what we should be talking about is
More Facebook. Facebook has disbanded its secretive research lab amid reorganization. So this was like Building 8, I think, is what they refer to it as internally.
Which is weird because Building 9 was 9/11.
Yeah.
Or was it Building 7?
I don't know.
I think it was Building 7.
Yeah. But
Either way, it's on the other side of 8.
the projects that they were working on have been reassigned to other groups. But a lot of the projects that we've covered in the news are projects that have come from that group. But that group was also responsible for things like we're going to use the data that we have to do Cambridge Analytica type things. Like, strictly speaking, they were not responsible for Cambridge Analytica. That's the thing a lot of people don't understand is that internally the idea was we've got all this data on people. What cool stuff can we do with it?
So yeah, basically what they're saying is they're going to keep doing this. They're just going to call it something else.
They're just saying bleep blah.
But as I'm looking at the OBS window, I noticed that Krista is just in an Aspie fashion, just playing with her hair this entire time.
Listen, I'm listening.
And I
The
can't
next story
help.
is
You're supposed to comment.
Anytime I think about eating disorders, I think of Krista because Krista weighs like 100 pounds.
No, I weigh 125.
Well, but you're tall. How tall are you? You're tall.
5'8".
So
Really?
she's.
I thought you were over 6 feet.
She's very skinny, and it turns out that like she just has one of these natural metabolisms, right? Because she eats garbage. Let me tell you,
It's going to be a struggle after 30.
She goes to IHOP and she gets the fucking cream cheese French toast.
I mean, look what I'm drinking right now. It's strawberry cream liqueur.
But not all girls are gifted with this magical metabolism, or boys either. Look at these two motherfuckers. And
He says referring to
Instagram-
himself in the third person.
Instagram is looking out for us.
So if you've got an eating disorder, Instagram actually filters for that. Like if you search for things, apparently I don't like this article is very circumspect, and so I spent more. It was distracting, honestly, because
They
I was-
never get to it.
Yeah, I was trying to
Yeah.
think about like exactly what was going on here, but it
So-
talks about how with Instagram, if you have an eating disorder, maybe you take pictures of something, or maybe it's like bulimia-related
it's
searches.
inspiration. I see. So Tumblr actually had Tumblr just tightened down all their restrictions. Tumblr used to have a whole subsection of the site that was like thinspiration and like pro anorexia stuff, and it was tagged that way, and Tumblr had to get rid of it.
Wow.
So they're probably doing the same thing on Instagram.
Yeah,
I had no idea that was a thing.
So
Yeah.
it's people who are here's the thing about it. Here's the thing about they said about this article, right?
Yeah. Okay.
They said this is a medical thing, right?
Body dysmorphia.
Masquerading as a lifestyle choice. Oh, where have we seen that?
Oh, God.
Let's not broach that.
the comment section for these news episodes.
Oh Lord, that's your engagement
Oh
challenge.
no! Don't say that.
Let's move on to Facebook.
Yeah.
Now
Again,
here, very off on a level 1 news, we have contributing reporter is Captain Obvious.
and the boiler snake.
So turning off Facebook location tracking doesn't stop it from tracking your
Now
location.
that is unreal.
Now I
Who
don't.
could have seen this coming?
This is another level 1 prediction come true. It's like literally we told you they were still tracking your location, and guess what? They're still tracking your
That
location.
should be the subtitle of the show, as we
Now,
told you.
Facebook says, listen, this is your IP address. You shouldn't expect any privacy based on your IP address. You stupid plebs. Of course we're tracking your IP address. What would you expect us to do? And that's what they're doing.
They don't actually say that, like for mobile phones, it's a problem
Y'all
knowing
have
where
phones, don't you?
because your IP address could come from anywhere. But they actually collate data from other sources from your phone to associate your IP with a location. So it's not just your IP and a location; it's your IP and other identifying stuff that identifies your location. They can combine data from several different sources with your IP. Your IP is really just to uniquely identify you.
But here's the thing. They marry your IP to your advertiser ID,
Yes.
which is everything.
Which is, if you ever gave it your location, it knows where you are.
So, as Krista braids her hair,
I'm not braiding my hair. I'm listening intently.
Facebook is
Space right now.
spying on you, and you can turn off location all you want. You can go through all those little privacy controls. You can feel good about yourself, but guess what? They know.
If we launch Facebook, how long do you think it is before Zuckerberg?
That probably already
I don't
exists.
know.
I bet Facebook's already taken.
I think Musk is involved, and it's Zuckerberg versus Musk. They pointed out when the amount of money that Zuckerberg lost this year is equal to Musk's fortune.
Wow.
Yeah, how pissed off is he about that?
That's got to be unsettling.
Because Musk, I mean, I'm not a Musk fan. I don't like him.
We can tell.
But he's contributed so much more than Zuckerberg. So much more. And the amount of money Zuckerberg lost this year is equal to his fortune. That's got to rub. That's got to rub.
Speaking of things that rub the wrong way, what about chronological timelines being in reverse?
You're the only one who gives a shit about this.
I don't even pay attention to when things are tweeted because most of the time it doesn't really matter.
You are a Twitter addict.
I am.
So this matters to you.
So Twitter is relaunching the reverse chronological feed as an option for all users starting today. So as much as I am on Twitter, I'm on Twitter kind of a lot.
Kind of.
I mean,
A lot.
Like every day.
Like
Yeah,
on
every
one
minute
monitor?
of every day.
probably about every 4 hours. or
Oh,
less.
come on.
Like
No.
2 hours.
Come on. Keep refining. Granularity equals 15 minutes.
Reverse timeline, because things were not necessarily in
But
order.
it makes more sense, right?
It does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it does.
So
Makes
should be
more sense.
should be
Because
good.
It doesn't make. I mean, the other one is based on like likes and views, right?
Yeah.
So just because something's popular it doesn't.
There are a lot of people that ask questions on Twitter, and legit, Twitter doesn't actually show me that. Like, it'll be 6 months later, and I'll be looking at something else, and then I will see that somebody has replied to something, and it's like, Twitter, why didn't you show me that somebody
What?
Yeah,
replied to
sometimes
that?
people get upset because we don't respond.
Because
Sometimes
Twitter's
it's
like, listen, a pleb said something.
Yeah, that's literally how it feels.
this person only has 20 followers.
Oh, basically, we don't care.
Yeah.
So you can. Are you going to switch yours?
Chronological probably
Because
will make
you're a
more
man
sense.
of the people.
Yeah.
I'm a man of the people, as you know. Wendell also a man of the people.
I try to respond to people no matter how much they're trolling.
I don't respond.
I don't look at Twitter at all.
I look at ours, like the
I think my last
level one
Twitter
Twitter,
post
but I
was
don't
in
look at mine
July.
as much.
Sometimes I think like I should tweet, but
What's funny is that you have more followers than some social media experts in our circle.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a piggyback on the
Level
level
one.
one spawned from something else
Level
that we
one
don't
has,
talk about.
I think level one has 60,000 followers on
Look
Twitter.
at us.
I think
Well,
it might be like 55. I don't remember.
We're coming along.
well, it's you know what? Actually, this story reminds me. I was supposed to put level one on Facebook this week. I forgot.
That was some free money. Yeah, so
Yeah, we got to do
Completely
that.
forgot
We had a
about that.
Facebook page, but I don't think we have access to it because Jennifer helped us set it up.
No, we
initially.
do. We're gonna sell out, and we'll just tell you right now.
yeah, that's what I was going to do.
100%. We're selling the fuck out. We're going on Facebook.
As long as the window of opportunity hasn't passed, because they literally offered us cash money to put some of our product or
And a
back-
non-trivial amount of money. But not just that, but we can bring the normies in.
It's our
And
backlog.
listen, level
of
one is
videos.
all about taking the normies, pulling them out of the normie category, putting them into the woke category.
See, I don't know if we're really there though, because a lot of our content does kind of skew toward the weird anyway.
So, but
See also the Intel courtroom drama.
speaking to that is the next headline. I got it.
And the next headline is Facebook has allowed Netflix, Spotify, and a
Spotify.
bank to read and delete users' private messages. Now, we alluded to this in the previous episode of Level 1 News where we were talking about other stuff, but this is more social specific.
Private messages.
The API at Google, Facebook was like, look, we got the data, we got the users. If you've got literally, this was the attitude. We got the users, we got the interface. If you've got an idea for how we can make money off these people, here is full access to everything. Go to town, let us know what you figure out. Which is what we said all along.
Delete private messages.
We should change your username on Steam to Wicked Shits. That'd be a good username. I might change my BNet.
You can't change your Steam username.
Can you not?
No,
Because mine is an email address. It's an old email address.
it's no longer valid.
And you can't change it. Well,
You can change your BattleNet.
one thing I like about Tech Dirt, I really respect Tech Dirt because Tech Dirt,
Their headlines are so hard to read.
their headlines, they will use the foul language and they will talk some shit about technology companies in their articles. They will let them have it with both barrels. And here's an example.
This article is great. So Tech Dirt, the headline is, as a final fuck you to free speech on Tumblr, Verizon blocked archivists. And so this is Jason Scott. He's with the Internet Archive. Jason Scott is an amazing and fascinating individual. He has a podcast and a whole bunch of really interesting stuff that he's up to. He is the archivist's archivist. Like, if we're the nerds, he is the archivist's archivist. He's really good with programming and archiving and cataloging and all sorts of crazy stuff. I've talked to him a bunch for this and that. And he's a really fascinating character. And the Internet Archive team was working to catalog all the Tumblr stuff because Tumblr was just going to delete it. Well, Tumblr took the further step of blocking the people that were trying to archive the stuff that they were going to delete, which, as you know, blocking IP addresses on the internet works for about 5 minutes. So that slowed them down slightly, but it didn't really slow them down very much. But good Lord, why would Verizon even do that? Like, Verizon has actually said that Oath is worthless, which again is level 1. Level 1 is like when Verizon was paying $1 billion for that, we were like, wow, that's worthless. Could we have paid somebody? Like, what if somebody had said, hey, we want to hire you guys as consultants to figure out if this content acquisition is worth anything? And in 5 minutes, we could have said, no, it's worthless. Could we have earned like $3 million in consulting fees for saving Verizon $1 billion then? I like to think in some timeline that, yeah, maybe, possibly. Because we called it. We called it then. How did we know? It seems obvious, doesn't it?
Are you sure you didn't spike your beer with Adderall?
Speaking of which, I'm actually going to pause because I've got to piss.
Oh, bye.
Crazy amount. And you can leave this in. You can leave this in the edit. I don't care.
Just leave it. We're just in the next story where I'm just rambling on. Anyway,
We're back.
I just took a 100% clear piss. It's pure ethanol pumping through your liver when it's completely clear.
I can understand why people have a drinking problem. I mean, right now I've only got 3 or 4 voices in my head. There's usually 7 or 8.
You drink hard enough to get down to 1.
And then it's like, wow, is this how normal people
It is a
feel?
good time, but tomorrow, oh boy.
I usually feel fine. I've only done drunk news once, and I only drink
not
that tiny bottle.
You're not trying hard enough.
I don't have to go to work tomorrow except to edit this, so I mean, it's fine.
Well,
We probably don't need to edit that much.
and you know what the weird thing about it is? I think we're at like the 40-minute mark, right?
Yeah.
And we're
halfway through.
I'm so sorry.
This is bonus. This is free baseball right here.
Some people, though, I mentioned it in the first episode, if you're looking for real news, it's probably not the episode for you, but
Well, listen, it's Christmas.
yeah, if you're just looking for nonsense, this whole
Christmas
episode,
is the spirit of giving.
all 3 hours of it.
And we're giving you news about Facebook and Cambridge Analytica.
DC Attorney General has sued Facebook over alleged privacy violations from the Cambridge Analytica scandal. Finally, more people are getting clued into what Cambridge Analytica is not the story. The fact that this functionality was sold to third parties like Cambridge Analytica is the story. Cambridge Analytica is not the story.
Well, basically, I mean, we all know the Cambridge Analytica story. But DC is finally saying, hey, you did something terribly wrong.
This was by design, not an accident.
You must be sued for it. I don't know. What do you think their chances are getting any money out of this?
Not a lot. Honestly, I don't think it'll really hold water because the people that are prosecuting the case don't understand the technology enough to understand the insidious aspects of the technology.
And Cambridge Analytica is still a major player in the credit market.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what are you going to do? You gonna destroy the credit market?
Not happening.
I don't know. Well, one thing we can all agree on, no question, child pornography is wrong.
Child exploitation in general.
Nobody's saying anything different than that, right?
Yep.
Well, WhatsApp has a problem.
Yeah, WhatsApp has an encrypted child porn problem. Facebook fails to provide enough moderators. So this article is from TechCrunch.
I like how when you do a child pornography story, there is no stock photo.
Oh, no. If you ever follow, there's a Twitter account called Dark Stock Photos. That's a name. It's funny, but some of them are
use
terrible.
this giant exclamation point because it's like, ooh, really bad thing.
Now, I was on board with this article, just from the headline. It's like, that makes sense. This is a problem. And there's a lot of very compelling screenshots in this article. But this article reads a little bit like, if you search and replace WhatsApp with the internet, I've sort of started to wonder.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. They are finding the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And they're pointing it out in order to vilify end-to-end encryption.
Yes.
I think is what's happening here.
But we have to have end-to-end encryption. There's no way around that.
And you are inevitably going to get the worst of humanity, right? in any kind of endeavor like this.
See also the YouTube comments below for the worst of humanity.
There might be some good ones in there.
I'm not gonna accuse the shitty Aspie comments of child pornography. That's a little darker than like the 5 paragraph YouTube comments. I don't think they're child pornography.
Actually,
But yeah, I agree with you. They are. I mean, no matter what you do, you're going to find the worst of it, right? You can see at the bottom. This is the bottom of WhatsApp.
So what Facebook is working on in terms of functionality improvement for WhatsApp is around cryptocurrency.
But sadly, probably going to be used for that same purpose.
yeah, that's really sad.
Facebook is developing a cryptocurrency for WhatsApp transfers. So here's your headline for next week, just as soon as they roll that out, which is WhatsApp's cryptocurrency is being used
for sex trafficking,
for child exploitation or whatever.
Now, they do point to India. WhatsApp is massively huge in India. We've seen people get killed because of WhatsApp in India. And
They
so
reported on that earlier this year.
Facebook looks at that and says, oh, we should monetize that.
In the same way that, cash is used for human trafficking, does that mean that we should abolish cash?
They want to do that, though.
A
A lot of places do.
WhatsApp is going to use cryptocurrency for real currency exchange, especially between denominations, different international currencies. And so somebody is going to trot out the human rights argument. And it's like, I mean, I sympathize, but be that as it may, I don't think that the two are necessarily related.
No.
It's a tool.
No, yeah.
There's
I mean,
a chance for abuse of any
well,
tool.
it's a lot of people blame capitalism for the evils of the world, but it's just a system of exchange, and you're inevitably going to get terrible things being sold. You're going to put dollar value on human life. That's just it's a darkness of the human condition.
Speaking of darknesses of human condition, our next story comes from China.
I feel like just so sad. I'm like, oh no.
The Chinese
Killed the buzz a little.
They love to quantify. Right? Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
They want to quantify everything. And one of those things that they want to quantify is water usage.
So this Chinese university wants students to scan QR codes before taking a shower. So that'll give them an idea of who's using how much shower water in the shower.
They literally want to build, but here's the thing. You can't take your smartphone into the shower.
Yeah.
So
You can take it to the bathroom, like put it in your shower caddy.
But what if someone steals it?
Well, listen.
Doesn't make any sense.
I have no argument. I just listen.
I mean, we've all been to college. Everyone at this table is educated.
I don't want to brag. I went to university.
Never take a smartphone to one of those bathrooms.
Even me with my Twitter addiction.
I mean, I didn't have a smartphone in college and didn't
No,
for
I don't
the
think
first
any
part
of
of
us
my
did
career
because
as
we're
well.
older than you and the smartphones didn't exist.
Yeah, but I never took my friend did. She had a fiance back home, and she would take her cell phone in and text him back and forth while she was in the shower. And I was like,
What?
why?
That seems...
It's a 10-minute.
Yeah, well, they ended up breaking up because he was kind of controlling. But she's happily married to someone else now.
What do you
So-
do? How do you break up with the state?
Listen,
You
it's
don't in China.
Listen, G. It's not working out.
You
This
just
is
look
not
too
what I
much like Pooh
expected.
Bear.
Every time I'm with you, I'm reminded of Winnie the Pooh or Christopher
Oh.
Robin.
But I don't understand how this is supposed to work. I mean, so you scan in, the shower starts, and then you scan out.
Oh, does it
And
not
they-
actually limit it? Is it like, oh, you have no more shower
Well,
credits?
no,
That's
it's
meant you have to
measuring the
stink.
water to bill you later.
Wow, that's crazy.
So it's the smartphone's susceptibility
'Cause
to water seems to be a problem.
You know what I did when I was in college and I lived in a dorm? I cranked the heat. I took long ass
right.
showers. I was like, I am paying for this and I'm going to enjoy it.
I lived in the dorm where the football players lived.
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
they would practice at 6 a.m. and then they'd come back and they'd all shower. And then I would get up at 7 a.m. Cold showers.
No hot water.
That's why I take showers in the evening.
See,
Evening shower master race.
you're talking about your female 100-pound privilege.
125.
Listen,
But-
I have night terrors. I have to shower in the morning.
We can't get away with that. All right? We shower in the morning because during the night there is a stink that will get on you.
I mean, it's at least 5 pounds of terror sweat. Look,
Terror sweat. You have to wash the bedding every day.
there's a pheromone that comes out when you're terrified, and it does not smell good.
It's that, the cavemen were not designed to deal with the level of stress.
That is exactly right. And so, I mean, it's like I've got to wash my bedding every 3 days. It's seriously bad.
Your live female privilege.
The only thing that does anything for that is a morning power wash.
Power wash. You just scrape all the skin off.
My,
A sugar scrub.
my whole shot at creating the appearance of normalcy is that morning power wash, because otherwise you can smell the terror.
Also, do you have you got to get the plunger, the shower plunger,
What?
because the level of body hair is just.
Let's see, for me, it's just shedding.
Well, let's talk
We're just like way off.
Hakuna Matata. It means no worries
For the rest
for the
of
rest of
your
your days.
days.
It's a problem-free philosophy.
So,
Hakuna Matata.
so apparently the Zimbabwean activists have a problem with Disney copywriting that. It's an assault on the Swahili people.
It is kind of bullshit.
It is, yeah. It's
mean,
like
it's
the
just-
gesture thing we talked about in the first.
Well, it's like copywriting "Thank You" or "Happy Birthday."
There've been some
They did that with Moana. One of the songs is "You're Welcome."
No, the Happy Birthday song Disney owns, right?
No, it has finally entered the public domain.
But they did own it.
They did.
They did, yeah. And there was like weird things where you couldn't sing it.
Yeah. That finally
It was
ended
performance.
in the last couple of years, which
So,
is
yeah.
amazing.
Hakuna Matata.
Well, actually, it was always in the public domain, but they were misrepresenting when it was invented.
Well, what are you going to
continuously.
do? You're going to go up against the Disney machine?
Yeah.
No, you're gonna fail. So
I want to die on that hill.
You know what? My dad loves The Lion King.
He's probably gonna watch the new live one.
I don't know.
There's a new
but
live one coming out.
He was a huge fan of The Lion King, and he loves all those songs, and he would play them in the house.
I loved this movie growing up.
And so
This might have been the first
know
movie I
those
saw in theaters.
I know those songs by heart. The Elton John bullshit, in there. Elton John never wrote any of those lyrics.
Yeah.
Elton John could not write lyrics. He was a brilliant songwriter, couldn't write lyrics. Anyway,
That's fair.
apparently that's a real Swahili phrase, and they're not happy that Disney owns a trademark.
It's so bizarre.
I got it wrong. Like the ice. I've committed the ice sin.
Oh, I don't know. Is it trademark or copyright? You might be right.
I don't know.
Trademark. It's a trademark.
Trademark, yeah.
Yeah.
Trademark makes more
Now we
sense.
don't have to have a correction next week.
You knew what I meant.
This week is immune from corrections.
No, you do not have night terrors. It's totally
5 gallons of sweat, get on my level.
Well, we talked last week about the SNES and NES Classic and how they are super popular, but they're not going to make any more of them because Nintendo says,
They're
fuck
putting him in
you.
the vault. They're putting him in the vault to bring
Yeah,
out later.
they're going to wait, and I think you called it, Krista.
Yeah, I did.
They're going to change the color.
I'm smart.
They're going to change the games. They're going to sell it to you again in 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, somebody's done a little testing. It turns out the SNES Classic is super powerful.
Yeah, the SNES.
Hang on.
The SNES
There it is.
Classic runs PS1 games better than the PlayStation Classic because again, Sony gonna Sony. They cheaped out on the electronics.
Sony, goodness, Sony.
Classic Sony.
They got
It
a
is classic
screenshot.
Sony.
They got a screenshot now. Oh, look at this.
It messed up. Look, he's a sad.
Come on. Well, you can kind of see it here.
We have that
So,
picture in our
The
bathroom.
PS1 Classic is underpowered. They say 50 cents a unit, and the PS1 games run like crap.
This is Ridge Racer. So this is Ridge Racer being run by the I can't tell which is which. I think this is the this is the SNES, right?
Yeah, because look, there's less pixels.
Nintendo is basically selling
more
you a
pixels.
Raspberry Pi with a bunch of preloaded ROMs, which is what you, as the awesome aunt, were supposed to get your nephew or whatever.
No, he wanted Fortnite
Listen,
stuff.
Krista, you would be a legend.
I literally had like 3 days to get him stuff.
The other kids would come over to that house and they'd be like, "Oh my god, what? Where did you get this? This is I've never heard of
I
anything
literally
like this."
crafted
And be
this
like,
with my own hand.
Aunt Krista is a
She's got the
tech
hookup.
wizard.
None of my cousins, as you might be surprised, find out none of them impressed by the YouTube channel.
Well, listen,
Literally none.
When I brought Doom that I downloaded from the Kansas City Public Library BBS to the public school, I was a legend.
I played Doom on a LAN for the first time. My head exploded.
Just like
I was like,
the
I
demons you were killing in
I
Doom.
can't believe that this is real.
I was like, I'm in a game with other real people. This is insane.
And it's zero latency because we're on the same network, and it's just like,
I never had that experience because I was just expected to work.
you're a summer child.
Yeah. Minecraft servers were my first multiplayer experience.
Well, Krista, you are a dog owner.
I am.
Now, do you 100% of the time scoop that poop?
No. I do if she goes in someone else's yard. If she goes in my like private side yard, I
But
just let it.
you live in a duplex.
I have a private side yard.
Well, this company is bringing $7 million a year in testing dog poop DNA to catch non-scoopers.
So you don't use a scoop either. You use a bag.
Well,
You carry little baggies around.
it's
Rue carries her own baggies in her backpack.
Well, she's an advanced dog.
Yeah. She's
So-
advanced in something.
The idea here is these are actually high-rise buildings, right?
Oh, okay. So they don't have a yard.
You have a high-rise building in a big city. Every dog, as part of the lease agreement, gets a swab.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you send it off, and when poop is found,
They swab it?
the poop is sent off to the same company, and it is recorded, and you find out immediately which dog is the offender.
Wow.
I am appalled that this level of technology is required for dealing with other human beings, but I love this technology.
40% pre-scanning, 40% did not scoop.
That's weird in a high-rise situation. Like when you don't have your own yard. Like why would you not do that?
It's not at all because people are terrible.
Yeah, and they talk about you have 130 households, 2 poops a day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's a lot of poop. And so as soon as this went into effect, that 40% plummeted. People
Started
play
picking it
ball.
up.
They scoop when they know that their dogs are on record. And the DNA follows the dog forever. So you move to a new high rise, your dog is still on record.
Oh.
This guy is making
Nice.
a ton of money doing this, and it's brilliant.
I wonder how much money that costs to do. That seems like
$70 per dog poop, but you're gonna fine the offender more than that, so you get your money back.
Yeah.
And it's $40 to do the initial swab, but that's included in the lease agreement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing time that we've come to, but I'm sure that future historians are going to look back and say that, you know, this is the turning point for humanity. This is this is when all civilization hope was lost.
You
no.
know,
I think that would be like
People
it's,
couldn't be
it's kind
trusted
of a
to
good
scoop their own
thing.
poop.
Well, I've moved out to the country somewhat, and barking dogs are the thing.
See, Rue doesn't
Inside the
bark
house,
much.
I can't hear them, so I don't
Yeah.
really care. But when I was outside, I was moving some furniture yesterday, so I was like, Clorox wiping it down in the driveway, and barking dogs. Barking dogs are a big thing out in the country.
Thank good for double argon insulated windows.
Yeah. Inside, I can't hear shit, so I don't really care. That's fine.
Rue doesn't bark a whole lot.
Yeah,
Very
well,
seldom. Only if she wants to go outside. Like she'll come up to me and like. That's the noise she makes.
She whimpers.
Yeah. When you first put her in her crate, and if she can hear you and she doesn't think you're leaving right away, she'll. But I'm like, I'm not letting you out. You know I'm getting ready to leave.
Well, how about Bing?
How about it?
Does anybody use it?
No.
No. Some people do.
No.
I
They
don't
get
think
interesting
I even use it for
results.
testing.
Well, people get interesting results when they use Bing.
Bing recommends a piracy. Piracy. Bing
Piracy.
recommends a piracy tutorial when searching for Office 2019.
Let's
So,
you
yeah.
can see the screenshot down here. It's and I don't. You know what? I don't want the newsletter. Thanks.
I think
So here you go. Here's
there
the
you go.
First of
tutorial.
all, you need some uTorrent software. This is AI gone wrong. I thought
Well,
this
that's
was
what
pretty
people
funny.
are looking for. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it teaches you exactly how to get a pirate copy
Of Office 19.
of The Office.
That's not
I don't think
surprising.
Office 19 is even out yet. At least it's not on my Office 365 account.
Well, listen,
We
when
just
you
had some
pirate, you
updates.
get things early. That's how it works. Well, we didn't talk about this last week, but this was a big story.
I saw so many people posting about it, and it was funny the
was,
first time,
and
and then it got less and less funny every time I saw
But
it
it is,
reposted.
you can't.
I was excited by this because this is something I could do if I had time.
But it's hard to blame this guy. I think we shouldn't blame this guy.
No, I think that's
He
fair.
did an interesting thing, and it just happened to be that some of the other people involved lied about it.
YouTuber admits aspects of viral HomePod glitter bomb video were faked. I think that headline is not entirely accurate either, because if you haven't seen it, this guy built a glitter bomb device that had like 4 cell phones in it, and it was amazing. It was an amazing, brilliant device. It was awesome.
It would catch porch pirates. So like someone would take a package off your porch, they open it, and then it like bombs them in the face with glitter, but it also records them while they do it.
So he gave it to his friend. According to him, he gave it to his friends to put on their porches to see if they could record anybody. But it turns out that their friends picked it up, and so some of the porch pirates may have been a dramatization.
For sure were.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I don't. Okay, so let's try to get in the headspace of these people. You know that there's a glitter fart bomb in this box.
Oh yeah, because it had a bad smell in it too. I forgot about that.
But
Liquid ass.
But you pick it up on purpose so you can be internet famous as a criminal?
Pro criminal tip. You don't want
criminal.
your face all over the internet.
But not all. Some of them were actually criminals.
So it was, he hosted some of these at his house.
Yes.
Those were all legitimate.
Yep.
True criminals. His friend's house,
Maybe not.
Not true criminals. But just really stupid people.
Yeah, I don't.
It's also true that, potentially, the running this, I've thought about doing stuff like this before, but running that by legal, they're like, well, if something goes wrong, then those people might have an actionable lawsuit against you, even though they were stealing from you in the first
But
place.
they would have to admit to the crime.
Yeah.
So then they would have to do
But
criminal time before they sued you.
it would be up to the prosecutor to prosecute it, and there's some kind of rule about like criminal prosecution versus like civil suit. So they would have a civil suit against you, but you might have a criminal suit against them. But it's entirely up to the prosecutor if they want to do the criminal prosecution.
You would have to get a phenomenally stupid jury.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you couldn't get that.
Yeah.
But
But this glitter bomb video, if you haven't seen it, it's very cathartic.
it's
Cathartic.
Cathartic.
Yeah. I've had way too much.
Your glass looks disgusing, by the way.
I think the key here, the most interesting thing here is what kind of person fakes that to appear as a criminal to the internet.
Yeah.
Well, Krista, I don't think that there's any evidence that you're a terrible driver.
No.
You are.
I'm not a great driver, I
You're
would say. I'm very
bad-
cautious.
You're bad at cheese counters.
Yeah.
You're bad at elevators.
Yeah. Yeah, someone held the elevator for me.
Driving, I think you're fine.
Yeah.
So, but no more dodgy women drivers as UK bans sexist stereotype ads. Now, I read
Wait,
this.
so are there no women in the ads? I didn't see the story.
No,
No,
it's
it's just if they're bad at driving.
yeah, they don't. You can't have any kind of an ad that has a stereotype like women are bad at driving.
Or-
Not just women are bad at driving, but just any stereotype.
Oh, so like
Men-
Asians are bad at driving.
Men
no,
being bad
actually-
at changing diapers.
It's funny that you say Asians
Because
are bad.
that's the other stereotype. It's always women or Asians.
Because this is Reuters again, and Reuters is usually very good. But I had to read 3 other articles to get confirmation that no, racial stereotypes are still okay. It's just gender stereotypes.
Because gender is that's the big thing for 2018 is gender.
UK, what are you thinking?
That seems bizarre to me, but okay.
But it is funny. Have you ever seen those compilations where it's infomercials and they only show like the people who don't have the infomercial product,
And they're just like fumbling.
how bad they are at doing.
My favorite one is like there's this like car wash product, and this guy has got like everything in one trip, and he's got like 2 buckets and a bunch of things, and he like trips, and like the buckets are pre-filled with water, and so like the water goes everywhere, and then but the product is like something you put on the end of your hose and it does everything, and it's like, dude, I wouldn't try to carry all that stuff in one trip anyway.
not a real
Like,
man.
That's just
Well, listen, because you're not a infomercial moron.
That's there's a whole subreddit for those gifts. It's where did the soda go?
But
Good subreddit.
if they feel like those are gender specific, that is illegal.
yeah.
But not racial specific. That's really bizarre.
Yeah.
If you're gonna legislate that, why not go the full way?
Well, I don't think they have the balls to make them racial specific. Actually, it's the reverse. If you ever notice on commercials when there's like a home invader or something, It's like blue-eyed, blonde-haired white guy.
Oh yeah.
They will not show an ethnicity invading a home. Will not.
These damn Germans keep trying to break into my home. I don't know what's
The Swiss again.
I was thinking, is it like a Polish home and it's a German breaking in? Not again.
I'm gonna have to put a wall around my house.
But yeah, so
Oh, that was a good segue. Wendell had a good segue.
you're not allowed to the wall. So the thing that amazes me about this story, 16 million is a big number.
You're right.
It's a huge number.
You're right.
Look at this little tiny progress bar. Most people don't understand the scope of a billion.
So there's a GoFundMe for the wall.
And look how happy Trump looks in this photo.
Like it's
Mission.
the
He
wall,
needs a mission accomplished banner behind him.
it's the wall between the U.S. and Mexico, and like this is a piece of technology that I can't get behind.
So I haven't actually looked at the GoFundMe page though. This has been all over the internet. Does he actually have a plan for like how they're going to acquire the land? Who's going to man
Now,
the wall?
this is not Donald Trump asking for this.
No,
right?
it's like a
So
random
this
guy.
is let's talk about it. This is Brian Holfage, and he will let you know multiple times during the thing here that he has a blue check on Facebook. Krista, I have a blue check on Facebook.
I'm not impressed.
What are you talking about? I have a blue check on Facebook.
I like that he has no other credentials though.
Is that like a blue light special at Kmart?
No, it's
So-
like, when you get a check on Twitter. You don't have that.
I don't have that.
No, we don't have one either. As level 1.
because you're a loser.
Yeah,
But
You're not like this guy.
I might
So-
be able to get that with the @Wendell Twitter account.
this guy is a veteran, and he did lose his arms and legs, or one of his arms and two
Poor
of his
guy.
legs.
Wow.
So he's become a figurehead for this
For the wall.
for the wall.
Because of terrorism.
16 million.
I don't think the wall's
But,
really going to help with
Like
terrorism.
usually when you see a GoFundMe, it's like, why am I qualified? What is our action plan? Is any of that
Well,
outlined here?
he's not trying to sell himself. So he is saying that he's going to give 100% of this money to the government.
I don't.
So 15 billion of it will just go to
but like,
random government employees, and then they'll have 1 billion
Well,
left
it's
over to
only,
build the
here's
wall.
the thing about it. It's only 1 billion.
of
So
5
far.
billion
Because
costs.
GoFundMe has a limit of 1 billion.
Wow. But even though they've raised $16 million, which honestly is very astounding. Like
It is amazing.
16
crazy.
people contributing $16 million to build a wall is shocking.
It's such
for
a
a lot of
stupid
reasons.
idea.
For a lot of reasons we don't need to get into
It's
on
a
level
ter- it's a
1 as
terrible
a technology channel. But that's only 1.6% of $1 billion. Do you think people understand
And
that?
$1 billion is maybe a fifth
And
of
what
this
happens
wall's
if
gonna
this
cost.
probably won't happen? What happens when
I think this might be one of those GoFundMes where if it doesn't get funded, then nothing
you get
happens.
refunded?
Yeah, you don't. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Refund me?
That is
Refundme.com.
a serious question. And even if it does get funded, this is like a fifth of a wall.
I feel confident because this guy has a blue Facebook check.
Well,
So
that's really all it is. to
What
it.
if instead of a wall, we just put a wire up? And it's like,
But-
somebody tripped over the wire at mile marker 37.
I also wonder,
put a long distance trail there.
what about taxes? Because this is income for this guy, right?
Not if he gives it to the government.
Is that 100% deductible then?
I would
It's a
I would
charitable
say,
donation.
like, if it actually makes it into the hands of the government, they would probably give him a pass.
Does he have a
if they
government
didn't?
like connection? Does he just call up City Hall? Hey, I need to give you some money.
Hey, Donald.
I'm going to need 300 million of that back in order to pay my taxes.
And he's like, oh, you're screwed, bud. See ya.
But yeah,
What money?
Yeah. It's already gone to pay off a bunch of other people.
I could totally see Trump just burning him on that.
Oh man, I've been waiting for our next story. This is amazing. So I did my homework on this.
Can you
one.
do this dance? Do you know how to do it?
I
No.
remember this because now we were talking earlier before we started this.
That was me trying to do it. I can't really do it here.
Krista is from the generation where this was Nick at Night.
Fresh Prince?
Yeah,
Yeah, Fresh Prince was Nick at Night.
yeah.
Wow.
We saw this in prime time.
Wow.
Fresh Prince star Alfonso Ribeiro sues Fortnite over the dance of his character Carlton popularized. So I've done some homework on this, and it turns out that in 1979, choreographed works were added to the list of copyrighted things that were copyrightable. So if you create a choreograph for a dance, that totally is copyrightable. But those provisions specifically exclude things that are called social dances. And so I think
Yeah,
that
people do that all the time.
well, I think that this, like, even if this is iconic, and even if you immediately like UPS Brown, like you immediately recognize if there's a truck that's UPS Brown, that's a thing. Like UPS actually owns that. You can't have a delivery truck
Jay-Z has a color blue.
that's UPS Brown. I
Pantone blue.
don't know about Jay-Z, but
Well, what about last week? We had 2 milli.
yeah. So the question is going to be, if you can have UPS Brown, can you have a dance that is so iconic that's immediately recognized as like the Carlton dance? And
the Carlton dance was supposed to be a bad dance.
yes,
Yeah.
So it was like Carlton was like the black guy who behaved like a white guy,
yeah.
and he was hated for that. He was a character to make fun of.
He was a caricature.
But-
for that.
But there's a whole episode where, like, he gets back in some guy's face and he's like, why you gotta bring me down? It was a very heartfelt moment on Fresh Prince.
He gets into his like inner gangsta.
Well, no, but he just is like,
One-
you can be any way you want. You don't have to be one way.
One of my
black.
one of my favorite
a good episode.
episodes in that vein was when Uncle Phil was hustling pool. That was really good. Because it was like, this guy doesn't know
Well,
how to play
Uncle
pool.
Phil was from the streets.
Yeah.
But Carlton wasn't. He never
Yeah.
knew that lifestyle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because Uncle Phil was rich.
Right, yeah.
Their
He
whole
didn't
lives.
want that for
Well,
his kids.
Yeah.
Uncle Phil grew up like the Fresh Prince and became, that was the whole allegory.
I liked the Fresh Prince and Uncle Phil relationship as well.
Yeah.
That was a wholesome show. It was
Because,
funny.
well, they could identify on a level that Carlton couldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he always felt like an outsider.
I thought that was
because
an interesting storytelling mechanic too, because it's
yeah.
like he didn't understand.
of that. You know what? It was a good sitcom.
It was.
It was.
You say what you want about it. It was a
Say
good
what you
sitcom.
want about Will Smith and being the genie, but Fresh Prince was a great and quality show.
But the question is, can Carlton now sue Fortnite? Now, I said it last week. I'll say it again. The real disappointment here, the real story, is that you morons are paying $5 for the Carlton dance in Fortnite.
I think ultimately the answer is
You
no.
could be getting the dab.
This cannot be copyrighted.
I'm not doing it right.
Well, we'll find out. There are several cases pending. And Fortnite is making a lot of money.
It's interesting. It's the same law firm. So like whenever there's several people that popped up, and it's also like the Backpack Kid. There's apparently a kid, like some kid that was on the America's Got Talent or something, and he has so the same law firm is representing 2 Milli and Ribeiro and Backpack Kid. I can't.
You think
remember
they're
the
doing
names
that
right now.
on a, as a basis of the winnings?
Probably, yeah.
So they're going to get burned hard if...
I think so. I don't think that it's hard for me to imagine, because if they didn't mean this type of a dance with social dance, it's hard for me to imagine what kind of a dance they could have possibly meant. I can see like the Macarena, like perhaps the Macarena.
Well,
That's a social dance.
What is it? Or,
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, every
But
wedding
it's-
they do the Macarena. They do the cha-cha slide,
I don't think anybody
the
else
electric
is-
slide.
But nobody else has ever done the Carlton dance, right? Because it's stupid.
Yeah.
People do it as a joke, but I don't think it's like, you don't play a certain song at a wedding and everyone runs out to do the Carlton
That's
dance.
what I'm saying. Well, Krista, just take a quick look.
This looks like our architect.
What's your first thought?
That looks like male genitalia.
That looks like a penis and balls, doesn't it?
I don't think so. See, I think it's just. I mean,
it
if
does,
that's
but
what-
I wouldn't think that someone did that intentionally. I'd be like, ah.
Well, that is the excuse that he says.
Yeah.
And the headline, of course.
questionable bushes hard to ignore.
It's one of those things though, like it's. You guys are giggling like schoolboys. It's not. Like a child would see that and not think anything of it.
Oh, they most certainly would.
Like maybe a 12-year-old. But
Now, the owner of these bushes, he claims that when he planted them, he didn't realize they were like different varieties.
right, he thought there were just gonna be 3.
So they were
small
all
ones.
exactly the same. It was just a triangle of bushes. But 2 of them grow wide and 1 of them grows long.
So he's in trouble. But
Well, is
He
he though? I
shouldn't
mean,
be really.
there's
He should
a,
not be in
there's
trouble.
a controversy. Like, can you go to this guy and say you're not allowed to grow cock and ball bushes?
I mean, it's one of those things that's like, who cares? Like, how does this affect anybody?
Why does this
It's
matter?
stupid.
It's one of those things. It's similar to some of the racism arguments where, in order to be offended by it, you have to go there in your mind in the first place.
yeah.
So it's like, Why couldn't you just recognize that it's suspicious? I guess we'll find out. We'll find out someday. Well, our next story is it's fantastic. So Wendell, you decided to how you would name this.
Yeah. So the next story is from Phoronix, and it's amazing. So Debian, there's some controversy involving Debian. Debian's anti-harassment team, didn't know Debian had one of those, but Debian's anti-harassment team is removing a package over its name.
Well, what's your name for the package?
WebOOb.
Now, alternately, I would submit Weeboob.
That's funny because it's like weeaboo, but also boob. Like,
But it stands for Web Outside of Browser.
Yes.
So boob really doesn't factor into it.
Yeah.
this is one of those things. Like,
The documentation and some of the stuff under the hood is kind of a bit juvenile, and then it's like ha ha ha, weeboob, blah blah blah. And
But that is a classic thing in computer science.
It totally is.
Like the stupidity of naming conventions is well known.
First they came for WebOOb or Weeboob or whatever, and I didn't say anything. And next thing you know, they're going to be after like finger and yes and all those other command line utilities, and mount and unmount. I mean, come on.
didn't they come after was it Slave and Master was one that they said?
Yeah.
Because I use master.css, like that's where I put all of my style guide styles, and I'm always like, would you be offended by that?
Extremely racist. You're basically a Klansman.
I was just thinking because it's like the CSS that I want to be at the top of the stack, to hit all the pages.
But
So they pulled it. They pulled it.
Yeah, it's gone. We're getting rid of it. It's going to have to be renamed because
If I were the maintainer here, I would have just capitalized the O. So it's web and the capital O-O-B. Like that's
Krista,
literally, and then update the documentation and just make it O-O-B. Done.
Krista, when it comes to boobs, you are the one that might be offended here.
This is one of those things that I would kind of roll my eyes at, but I wouldn't really care.
Yeah, I mean, what? And does it really hurt you as a woman?
No, not really.
And just think, the
if I
developers...
can still like contribute and like not be like boobs, I don't really care. Like, great, let's just do our jobs.
The real problem here, the real sin, is that the developers that spent time dealing with this could have spent time making X less shitty.
No,
And
I
they
think
didn't.
changing that name, that was
They-
worth
No,
2
I
weeks
just-
of
They dealt
debate.
with this
disagree.
nonsense.
The developers who spent time on this do not have the technical skill necessary
To make X better.
anything but this kind of bullshit. And they're just trying to get their name involved in something that they have no business participating in.
I contributed to open source.
I contributed to WordPress core. You sent me this story. I hate this story.
This is fantastic. And the thing about this story, all right, so let's go ahead and get the headline out of the way. Because the headline is not the amazing part of the story.
Well, the headline...
You went back to the fruit tray.
Hey, look, there's the royal family like I had in my dream.
I gotta fix that. The world's first consensual robot brothel flops after owner gets just 1% of its 123,000 pound target. And I just want to say that because the headline has flops in caps, I thought that was floating point operations per second.
How about the
Weird
name,
flex, but okay.
the name of this operator, Unicole Unicron. What the fuck?
The video is really kind of strange and disturbing as well. It's not loading.
It's not loading, but the video is fantastic. Now, the thing about this video,
There's the picture.
there's Unicole Unicron, and here is the doll.
These robots can say no.
But the thing about this video that we have
But they
to
won't
see-
because of the implication.
We're not going to be able to see.
Oh, there it goes. I didn't watch
So-
the video. I was thinking of the photo.
Here's the thing about it. The doll is not nude. The doll is wearing... Oh, come on. Is it not going to load?
Well, the doll looks terrifying.
Well, but... Oh, here we go. So the doll...
Look, why is it like zooming in on her face like
The
that?
doll is not nude. But the male model, once we find it... Let's skip ahead.
10 minutes
There he is.
later.
He is nude.
Ew.
And he's really, like, disturbingly stroking the doll. What is he doing? And
Oh.
you guys can't hear this, but
I didn't watch the video.
Her voice is terrifying.
Everything about this is weird.
It's even more terrifying than deliberately terrifying voices.
He's
in
giving
the
her a
robot.
rose.
Look, he's back. She's a robot. There's no need for that, sir.
I watched an episode of House in season 8 the other day where the guy had a robot.
He's caressing her waist. So it's creepy. So here's the idea behind this brothel, right? It's revolutionary.
That's something.
The dolls can turn you down. So you can go in, you can pay your money.
So that's why he brought her the rose.
You're going to need that special number thing that we talked about in an earlier episode of the news.
I guess if you're too aggressive or not respectful of the dolls, then they can just turn cold and be like, "No, I don't want you to have sex with me."
there were some scenes, like, honestly, Steven Spielberg had some really, really subtle insights into this kind of thing in the AI movie with the dead people kid.
I'm not going to drink it if that's what you're thinking.
Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah, the dead people kid in AI. It was Stanley Kubrick's AI, but Spielberg put the scenes together. And when the little kid robot encounters like one of the sex robots, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background, and there's a lot of scenery for stuff like this. And so it's like, I think that Steven Spielberg has thought a lot about the robot sex slave future, and it's really fascinating, the cinematography and AI just around that little thing, little part of it.
But it's not going to happen because she didn't get her funding. She didn't even get close.
Yeah.
It's almost like people think it's weird.
Yeah, well, when it comes to sex robots, people don't want them to be autonomous.
Yeah.
They want them to be subservient.
Turns out. See also Vegas.
Yeah, it turns out we have real women who will do the same thing.
Don't really have a choice.
It's just the human trafficking.
Again, don't really have a choice.
It gets real dark.
Like this episode of the news. Closing out the 2018 and the darkest timeline.
We're going to go eat a cheese tray, and we're going to play a game, and we're not going to drink anymore.
This is over an hour to close out the year. Good Lord.
And I didn't get all the way through this last beer.
I didn't get all the way through the meat and cheese
think
tray.
I had 3 shots of the tequila rose, and then I had a Kahlua and coffee.
But I think everybody that's called out for drunk news has gotten what they've asked for.
Yes, this is more beer than I've had in 10 years.
So
I haven't drank since we did our last.
we're at the 40-minute mark, and this is like part 2.
Part 3.
Is it part 3?
We're on part 3.
No, this is part 2 of part 3.
Yeah. Part 2.
Oh, yeah, because we take a break. Because someone had to pee.
Listen,
It was over an hour.
my liver is just cranking out ethanol.
It's crying.
Well, now we're going to go play Parkitect. So if you need more, you can find that.
And we should thank the Patreons. If you watch this and you're like,
I don't want to see any
this
more
much
of this.
self-destruction and 3 Aspies is amazing to watch. Thank the Patreons.
The
Because
Patreons.
they made this a reality.
The patrons pay for our editor, and with a little bit more, we could probably get another editor for even that much more content.
It would be nice to have an editor.
Even though they're rapidly abandoning the platform.
Well, we're going to have Ko-fi or something. I mean, presumably the support is still there.
Well, you can also just go to the store. It doesn't matter. We're just happy you're here. You don't have to buy stuff from us. We'd appreciate it if you do. But you don't
We're
have to.
just
Share
happy.
things.
We're just happy to be inebriated talking about tech news.
Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been an
So,
adventure.
here it is, and we're gonna stop.
There's an ad playing loudly.
There's so much sound coming from these headphones. You might be able to hear it.
Something about this dude wearing some some feather headsets.
Also, it's 6 o'clock.
Oh,
We went super late.
I have to go home and let my dog out soon.
All right. Well.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.